save some cash and live with ease. Naomi's here, your money guide, helping you grow and turn the tide. Let's talk money, it's time to thrive on Rhythm 95.5. Budget, save, invest and win. Tune in, now let the wealth begin. Let's talk money with Naomi, only on Rhythm 95.5.
And welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Money right here on Rhythm 95.5. Our financial strategist in the house.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. And of course, our guest for the month of June, none other than...
Husband Small.
That's right, we're on the inside. And, Naomi, what's our topic?
Oh, well, today we'll be talking about types of insurance, the affordability and planning. Because, I mean, last week we try and understand, what is insurance, the purpose.
Right.
We spoke about, medical and life insurance. But the truth is there are all types of insurance.
True.
For
Right.
different reasons. And that's why we have, the experts in there to help us with that. Because as the financial strategist, I can only guide you and tell you which one you should take based on your financial standing.
Right.
But then we need the insurance specialist to guide us, let us know what types of insurance are available.
Okay.
And I guess you're excited to share that information with us today.
Always excited, Naomi.
Okay,
Always.
so husband, you are basically new to rhythm. Okay, so some of you, we know some of you missed the show last week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to allow husband to just give a brief introduction of himself again.
No
Right?
problem. So my name is Husband Small. I'm an advisor with a large insurance company, Sagicor, and I also own a small business called Big Brother Consultancy Services, where I help small businesses get their strategic plans in place for the future. That's kind of what I also do with Sagicor, which focuses more on personal finance, so your budgeting, your insurance needs, your risk management, those kinds of things. And I'm really happy to be here in the studio with you guys today.
And we're happy to have you too,
Yes,
because
yes,
I mean,
very
you're
happy.
ready for that knowledge, right?
Let's go.
Right, 100%.
So Naomi, I'm okay. So everyone, Naomi is going to be in charge today. Right? Guide us, because let me tell you, the reality is, Steva did not do her homework. Naomi always sends a document, giving me all of the information, so I know what it is that I'm supposed to
Research about.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did not do the homework. I am so sorry, guys. So Naomi, you are everything today. Let's go.
No problem. But we know, guys, she's an intelligent student, so she'll catch up.
Oh, yeah,
And she will
definitely.
get hitting on the road. So we will start off by asking husband, what are the different types of insurance that we should know about?
There's
Especially, as a working adult or even a small business owner. So we're looking at, well, we all are working people, we need
Right.
this information, and even more importantly, small business owners, because they feel they should be left out, but they should not be. So,
Let's hear it.
yes.
Okay, great. So there are many different types of insurances in the world. Just about anything that you can think of probably can be insured, and it has its own type of insurance. So we'll break it up into two segments. There are life products. So that would be your life insurance, your health insurance, your critical illness insurance, your accidental death and dismemberment coverage, annuities and retirement plans, they all fall on that side. And then you have general insurance. General insurance is more like your home insurance, your car insurance, any insurance that's insuring a thing. Let's say you're a small business owner and you have an equipment that you use regularly for your business, if that equipment is down, then you cannot run your business, it probably can be insured. And even if it's the only one on the island, we'll try to work out some calculation for you to work out a rate to get it insured.
So, are you saying, like, for example, I don't know for Steve, but for me, my laptop is my main equipment for work.
Right.
Can I insure my laptop?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can insure your laptop, especially if it's extremely important to your work. You have a reasoning for getting it insured. You can get it insured.
Okay.
Okay, and is it like a vehicle when you go for when you're insuring your vehicle, you need to have a specific year or that kind of thing?
Well, when you're dealing with those types of, I think it would fall under content plan. So it would kind of be connected to your home, assuming you have like a home studio or something like a home setup,
Right.
where all of the important items in your home that are related to your work would be covered under that plan. And then if something would happen to your home, your apartment, whether it's a rental or whether it's a house that you actually own, if it gets burned down, if you get robbed, if anything like somebody breaks into the house, then those contents can be replaced.
Okay.
So you spike some questions there, right?
Oh yeah, no problem. Go ahead. That's what we're here for.
What I need to know. So the apartment that I am renting currently,
Yes.
I can insure it.
Yes, you can get. So you wouldn't be insuring the apartment because insurance works on the basis that you own something or you have some kind of insurable risk,
Right.
meaning that you can be hurt because of the loss of this thing.
Right.
Now, what you do own are all of the contents within that apartment.
Okay.
So that's what you call now renter's insurance.
Ah.
And then you can secure everything that's within that apartment on that rental policy.
Okay, so we need to record that renter's insurance.
Yeah, so that's
I
another
think a
type.
lot of us need that.
Yeah, a lot of us are in Saint Lucia.
Yeah.
So these are the two main types. You deal with the life products and you deal with the general insurance products.
So let's take it one at a time.
Okay.
I mean, we start with the general. So just mention those on the general again. Let us just ensure that we ask all the questions under those for the general.
So let's just be realistic first off, huh? Because general is such a general thing, there are many different. I mean, if you had a industrial sewing machine, it would have its own type of policy. You understand? So general can become very general, but some of the main categories that we would use on a day-to-day would be home insurance or renter's insurance. It might be car insurance, and that could both be either commercial or private.
Oh, okay.
Commercial coverage usually has to do with like fleets of vehicles or specialized vehicles for a specific purpose. Those would fall under that commercial car insurance. And then for the private, we all know it already, it's comprehensive and third party insurance. Third party being that somebody else benefits if God forbid anything happens, you're not held up for it. And then comprehensive meaning that everybody would benefit if God forbid you do experience some kind of a loss for your vehicle.
Okay, I hope the men are listening because it's Men's Health Month, and I think
Oh,
a
yes.
lot of the information being given are important to them too.
Definitely.
So when we look at now the life one, where you talk about medical, you spoke about
I spoke about
life.
medical, life coverage, and critical illness coverage, accidental death and dismemberment.
So can you explain these two, the critical and the accidental death and dismemberment?
Okay, so the critical illness coverage is usually a policy that will cover specific illnesses. So there'll be a list of illnesses that individuals commonly experience, the most common reasons that somebody might die from an illness, and then we decide, okay, we're going to work out a calculation on how much you would need if you were to experience one of those losses, and then we use that to judge now how much coverage we're going to give you for the possibility of a critical illness.
Okay.
Each company has its own list of critical illnesses. For Sagicor, there are quite a few of them. I can't say all of them off my head right now,
So
but there are
basically
about
you're
21
advising us,
illnesses.
If an insurance agent come to us and they're speaking to us about the critically ill, we should ask what falls under that, so we know
Very
specifically
important.
what they're covering, because all insurances, generally for almost every premium, all insurances don't cover the same thing.
Exactly. And this is extremely important because you want to understand even the ins and outs of those coverage, because you may be covered for something like cancer, but cancer at what stage? Right?
True.
Right.
That's very true.
Because you might be at the first stage and you catch it on early. Will you receive any benefits from a critical illness plan at that point? Well, you're not critically ill because you're not going to die from it right now. That would probably fall under your health coverage.
Okay.
Right? But if you're at the second or third stage of a specific type of critical illness, a type of cancer or something like that, then that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what about the accidental and death?
Okay, so the way accidental death and dismemberment coverage works is that we understand as younger individuals, and this is really the place where it shines, right? We as younger individuals, we go out, we enjoy life, we outside, you know, and
That's what I think so.
yeah. And by being outside, it means that we are at risk of the possibility of accidents. We work in riskier jobs. Generally, when you're younger, they'll give you the buoy work to do, and the buoy work sometimes can put you at serious risk of harm. So what the accidental death and dismemberment coverage does is that if you are to lose an arm or a leg or two arms or two legs, you maybe lose vision in one eye or both eyes, or even hearing sometimes, because certain jobs can impact that, right? It's supposed to give you a specified amount paid out in a lump sum. In addition, some companies like ours, we have something called total disability tied into the accidental death. So if you were to become like totally disabled as a result of an accident, it's going to basically pay you out that lump sum over a period of time, almost like replacing your income whilst you recover from whatever it might have been, depending on the circumstances. But it would have to be accident related, of course.
So does the accidental death plan, does it allow for an ambulance?
Okay.
Because sometimes it might be critical.
So it's a defined benefit in that you had a specific amount that you'd have agreed to on the contract ahead of time. They would give you that cash, right? We do have air ambulance facilities, but those things generally in health, generally insurance, air ambulance and those kinds of things would fall under a health plan.
Oh, okay. So it's most times it's automatically in our health plan.
Well, depending on the company, and that's the next thing. You want to ask, what does your health insurance
cover.
entail? What does it cover? What can it
Right.
get you? Because not everybody's health coverage will get them everything. Some health
Very
coverages will cover some things and not cover everything. Maybe they might have certain stipulations. Some of them might not go as far. And particularly for my younger folks, it's better for you to be on a group plan. But if you go on a group plan like with your company, you need to make sure that you understand what your company health insurance covers. Because a lot of the time, it'll have a small amount of coverage,
True.
right? And you want to make sure you know that ahead of time so that you don't get a surprise if, God forbid, something does happen,
Agreed.
right?
So, is life insurance, would you say that it's only necessary for people with children or dependents?
Well, if it was only for these people, I probably wouldn't enjoy the job as much because it's extremely versatile for how many things you could use it for. The most common thing that comes to my mind is mortgage protection. So generally you find individuals will just call me out of the blue and say, hey, husband, I'm going to be purchasing a property and the bank told me I cannot purchase it unless I have life coverage. Can you quote me something? That's one of the most common uses right now. So basically, the bank will not give you any money unless they know if something happens to you that their loan is taken care of. They don't want to put $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on the line.
Yeah, and at the end, they're all businesses, eh?
Exactly.
It's a business as much as they want to help you.
Pretty much. Now the sad thing about it is we also have a part to play in our families' lives and in our own endeavors, but we don't think about it how the banks think about it. When my clients come in, sometimes somebody might tell me that they have the plan to do this for their family, or they plan to do this in the future, or they plan to achieve this. And then I ask them, like, what if something happens between now and then? What do you have in place to secure that for you? And in most cases, people don't even have anything in plan. So they think about the best case scenario, but they never think about the possibility that things may not exactly go the way that you want it to go.
I think that kind of thought actually comes later in life, but this is why we are here right now, and
Pretty much.
you're in
Start where you are.
advising the younger people to get these things in motion right now.
Get it
Definitely,
right now.
definitely.
And I just want to point out, guys, again, this is Let's Talk Money. We have our financial strategist on the inside, and we have we have husband Small, okay, and he is the one taking Let's Talk Money and turning it into Let's Talk Insurance for the month of June.
Yes, right.
Okay. So guys, if you have any questions,
Please feel free.
feel free. That number is 285-0955. Again, the number for Rhythm FM. You can send us your WhatsApp messages 285-0955 if you have any questions. Okay. Also, Naomi is live on Instagram. Okay, live on Instagram at Naomi Just 758. That is just spelled JEAN 758. Feel free to follow one time.
That's right.
And drop in your questions.
That's
me tell
right.
you.
Drop your questions right in. Okay, and Naomi, before we go deep in, just a quick reminder for our people, because I know they're listening in, they're tuned in.
That's right.
You can also visit Naomi. What is your website again? You're looking at me, not me. That was
I'm trying to figure out what you were going through.
Your
So
name-
yeah.
your name-
So if they want to go to my website where they can probably purchase a budget planner, a budget sheet, especially now that we're speaking to put things in order, you would need to budget and know whether I can afford to add insurance, whether I want to put critical
True.
coverage, health insurance, rental insurance, whatever it is.
True.
You need to budget for you to know whether you can afford to do that and where you can reach. So you can get a budget planner, get a budget sheet on shop.naomisnumbers.co, shop.naomisnumbers.co, and get your.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because preparing for the future is more important than ever, because things are getting a little bit dangerous around here.
Yeah.
The more unpredictable, you know.
Exactly.
So, and then all of us, we remember those times where we were like, oh, I want to have a baby. And we were like,
You budget for the baby.
let's have 5.
Oh my.
So we are now at the point where we need to make things happen and get ourselves ready, make sure we take care of our children, not just now, but for the future, also take care of ourselves.
And for
Definitely.
persons listening in right now, which probably wondering, but we're talking about all of these types of insurance and stuff, and probably they wondering if we didn't explain what is insurance, what is health insurance, what is life insurance. Last week we did explain that, and it is up on my YouTube channel, so they can go to @NaomiJa758 on YouTube or type in Naomi Jha Financial Strategies, and you will get that previous episode there and all our previous episodes, so you can listen and follow up of where we are right now.
Yes. Again, if you have those questions, the questions are burning.
Yeah.
You can get your answers today right here on Rhythm. 285-0955. Again, 285-0955. Okay, so please, Naomi, continue, please.
No problem. So yes, we come into the second half of the program, almost to the end. What should someone consider before choosing an insurance plan?
What should they consider? Well, I love this about our country and I hate it at the same time, where sometimes we just decide that we need to go and get something because we see everybody else getting it, and we don't really know why we personally need it. Insurance is such a versatile thing. As I would have told you earlier on, there are many different types of coverage. It's such a versatile thing that you may come with one thing in mind and probably end up realizing that you had some other things that were totally not thought of, So, how to think about... Just repeat that?
What should someone consider before choosing an insurance plan?
Okay, so somebody should definitely think about what it is that they want to plan for in the first place. Why do they need it? how much they need in terms of coverage, whether their plan is going to help them in their specific situation. So all of these are different things you don't want to ask an individual about whilst you're having that initial interview. I guess it really depends as well on the type of coverage that you're seeking. I could probably give examples. If you know that you need coverage for a mortgage, for example, then you should know that how much ever you purchase is enough to cover whatever loan you're going to be taking, or maybe even have the foresight to know that maybe in the future I might need additional coverage, so take enough for one time for everything, you know.
So then, with that being said, how can someone budget for insurance on a limited income? Because I am pushing that they should budget and put things in order. But then how do they budget for insurance if they're on a limited income? I mean, my first advice to them is, like you said, get a group insurance. But how can they budget for it on a limited income? Or is it they should prioritize, okay, I'll get the insurance, but let me get the insurance with just the main thing I need, whether it's like for example me, I need to do my glasses every year, so let me just get insurance just for renewing my glasses every year or whatever. What should they do?
Okay, so that kind of goes into your realm there a little bit with reference to the budgeting. So I'll give grace and I'll leave space for you to jump in there on that one. When you're budgeting, before you even get to insurance, there are a couple of things that you need to make sure that you cover. You want to make sure that your living space is taken care of, so your shelter is taken care of, your access to the important utilities that you might need, so your water, your electricity. Internet these days is extremely important, particularly related to people's work. So your internet and your food. They call these things I feel like I call 5 of them, but your 4 walls, right? You make sure all of them are taken care of. After you've addressed those things that provide for your basic living, the next thing that you would think about then would be your coverage, your insurance coverages, because they're a risk management tool. The reality is that, you know how they say, you could either choose to pay for the expensive apple today, or you could pay for the medical bills after because you didn't eat the apple when you should have eaten it. Ooh. Right? Ooh. You want to make sure that you minimize your cost, and having the coverage can minimize your cost in the future, because some things will happen in life. You will get sick, God forbid, but you will get sick at some point in life. We don't live in a perfect world. Sure. Somebody who is close to you will die, not may die. It's all a question of when they actually die. And what's important is to make sure that you have the right things in place ahead of time. So that's why it would come like right after you deal with the main and most important things in your life. You at least get some type of coverage that matches whatever is most important to you. So for a young person coming out, that might be health insurance, because they need to get coverage just in case they experience some kind of illness or they get into some kind of accident. For an individual who has a family, if they're just interfacing with insurance for the first time, they may decide to get coverage for their family because they want to make sure that if they're gone, and particularly for the men right now, we generally are the ones who provide and support our households, right? If you're the one bringing in a significant amount of income to your family, it means that you need to make sure that no matter what happens, that you have something in place. So even if you're not there, you've already secured it for your kids, you've secured it for your wife. They don't have to get into any compromising positions to take care of themselves.
Yeah, and the final question for us to wrap up, especially for persons that are self-employed. I mean, that might also pertain to young people just start working, so they're not climbing the ladder as yet. And also for self-employed person, are there flexible and affordable plans that they would be able to say, okay, I can afford this one. Is something because we negotiated so that we could get a plan within the means.
So the beautiful thing about it is the younger you are, the less money you make, but the younger you are, the cheaper the insurance coverage is for you.
That's true.
So best thing that you can do, if your parents could have done it before you were even, conscious of yourself, that would have been the best thing. So people who have kids, you already have sufficient coverage for yourself. You could help your child significantly by putting some form of coverage in place for them ahead of time. I recently spoke to somebody, they just had a child and they were asking, how much coverage can I get? I already have for myself. Person could get $500,000.
Wow. For the child.
For barely anything, right? When that child inherits that plan when they get older, they have $500,000 worth of coverage for what? $90, $100?
Right.
And the coverage that'll probably deal with and even take care of retirement and everything like that down the line. So the earlier the better, right? But in terms of flexibility, this takes a special place in my heart. For my people out there who are hustling, who are working businesses, I know how it feels. I work on commissions myself, and it's not every month that is perfect and ideal. What you can do is that you can do either quarterly, semi-annually, or annual payments instead of doing the monthly payments. What that does is that you can now control when the money goes to the insurance company, and it can always be whenever you are doing well. So like taxi drivers who have a season for when they have extra money in hand, right? You now have the ability to decide now, okay, when am I most profitable in the year? This is my peak season. I'm going to pay this in my peak season. I don't have to worry about it. You understand? Other business people who have a season when their business really picks up, it gives you that flexibility to manage and decide, okay, when am I going to make these payments? And it also gives you the time to plan around it. Another option that, I guess, helps for people who maybe working salary deductions help quite a bit in terms of making sure that your payments are always made, because you don't even have to think about it. And Naomi might have already spoken about it. Whenever you have anything that's important, it's a monthly responsibility, and it's something that you need to get every month in the long term. The best thing that you can do is automatic payment. So you don't even have to think about it. It just goes out immediately. Your savings, make that automatic. Get that payment out of there as soon as possible.
Okay, so we have a question. Okay, so the question is, and I think we answered this last week though. How much life insurance should I buy?
Okay, so the amount of coverage that you should buy really has to do with your specific situation. That's generally why it's advised that you have an advisor to go through your finances with you and do their job, advise you.
That's
right? So there could be different situations to consider. Maybe you have dependents, maybe you don't have dependents, but you have significant holdings that you want to make sure that they're secure. Maybe you have responsibilities like mortgages or debt that you want to make sure is not there afterwards. There are a couple of things that goes into the calculations that we would do with you. But the best thing that you can do to make sure that you don't have too much coverage is to find a good, honest advisor who could guide you in that process.
Okay. Any more questions before we round up?
No more questions right now.
Okay,
all right.
So I'd like to thank us one for joining us once more on Let's Talk Money, where we speak about Let's Talk Insurance. So thank you guys for listening. I hope that you learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot because the one thing I learned today, renter's insurance. I was not aware of that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that completely.
True.
So,
many people don't know about it.
Exactly.
It's a hidden gem in there.
Right. So you see, that's why it's good for us to ask questions, for us to always seek for advice.
Hello, before I forget,
Yes.
because one of my friends calls me the goldfish, because by the time I take 2 steps, I don't forget. Let me say it before you leave.
Yes,
before
talk to
you
me.
leave
Talk
husband,
to me. Talk to me.
Come and see me and remind me that we need to speak about the renters insurance, right?
Oh yes, no problem.
Don't forget.
Guys, remember, Steve said she's going to speak about the renter's insurance. So hopefully next time I follow up with her, she's supposed to be on it.
Yeah.
I'll update you all.
That's if I remember.
I'll update you all on this one. By the end of this month, I'll let you all know Steve's progress, whether she's going to have renter's insurance or not.
Sounds good. No problem.
So, persons just joining us, sorry you missed. It was a wonderful show today.
Of course.
And you missed a lot of wonderful information.
What?
So,
You mean they didn't miss it though? They didn't miss it.
oh, they didn't miss it.
They don't miss it
Not
yet.
missed.
But we done.
Yeah, but we're not going to put it online now.
Yeah. So that's a replay.
Yeah.
So make sure you go onto Naomi's YouTube and our Instagram and all
Yes.
of that and find that content.
Yes. So yes, guys, go up there and you will get what I call the replay because that's the live. We're live now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All
All
right.
right. So until next week, have a blessed afternoon, guys, and get covered.
Yeah.
Get your insurance covered, whichever one you need. Organize it. We never know what can happen in life, and it can just save us.
True.
Awesome. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Let's Talk Money right here on Rhythm 95.5. Until next time, everyone, get that coverage.
That's right.